what's up guys, it's the Lost here, welcome back to another video. I'm so excited to show you guys my new PvP setup that I have for 150 fire PvP. This is the first character I took to max, you already know, always been a fire main, having a lot of fun with it. I was 960 earlier on stream, but kind of messing around, but you can trust me because I'm a Warlord Fire and I've been looking at other people's setups and stuff, but just to get that out of the way before I get any comments. But so yeah, here's my 150 fire setup. Just going to be starting off with the gear before I go into the stats. But first of all, I mean, you can't really go wrong with the Dragoon hat. Super good. No real need to switch to Merciless. Gives you some really good stats, and overall the set bonus you get from Dragoon gear is just ridiculous. I mean, just look at the damage and accuracy you get. It's nuts. So, and then with robe, I use Motorist robe. You can honestly even get away with Autoist robe if you really need to, but I would honestly say this is a must-have. This or the Autoist one. It's such a good robe, and hopefully there's a free-to-play one that becomes a lot better or something. I don't know. And then, as usual, the Dragoon boots. Just cannot do these boots. They're so strong. They're perfect for fire stats, and they're just really good right now. Wand, so you can use a Celestial wand, personally, or you can also use the new Supreme wand. I mean, up to you personally. I like Celestial wand, but I mean, if I could upgrade to Supreme, I would. Just not really willing to farm for such a small change. But again, I mean, you do you. So I do use the Dragoon of Thame still. I do kind of wish I had a higher accuracy jewel on it, but this is what I get away with. It works pretty well for me, and honestly, can't really complain about it. Amulet wise, I use the Death Amulet because of the prevalence of Jades, and it's really nice to have the what's it called? The Threefold Fever, just to set it up against balances and lives and stuff, just in case they heal. But overall, I recommend Death, Ice, or Myth. I've heard Ice is really good for fire as well, but again, you just gotta watch out for the Jades and stuff. But yeah, I mean, up to you, preference wise. But personally, if I had to, I would choose Ice. Now ring wise, I personally, can't really recommend anything else except for the Aphrodite ring, the Signet of the Fire King. It is a lot of farming, but I promise you it is worth it. You get some really good stats on it, some great incoming for your links, some great pips, some great health, great damage. Just can't go wrong with it. And having that extra square socket is just so nice too. Pet wise, so this is the pet I currently run with. You could run Mighty instead of Piercer, but I prefer the extra Pierce. It's really nice, and overall you do notice it a little bit on your damage, especially with more higher res people running around in queue. But personally, if I could remake the pet, I might make a Mighty version of it instead, but not really willing to remake it. So yeah, really up to you what you decide to do, but I think on a Frillasaur, or maybe even the Dark Pact fossil thingy, or a fire class pet or something. I mean, you could get away with any of those, but highly recommend the Scratchy Frillasaur, and maybe go in the comments if you have any ideas of what other bases you could use if you don't have the Stompy Bronto mount. Now again, I have the Stompy Bronto mount. I'm lucky enough to get it on like one of my first packs, so I've been using it ever since. Super good. Now that minus 90 Efreet isn't a thing, you definitely get a bunch of value out of running the Bronto. You get stupid amounts of damage. It's sitting on like, what, 151 damage, pretty crazy. So, I mean, can't really go wrong with it. Deck-wise, I mean, I run the Hazmat box. You could also run the Supreme one. You don't really need more than 6 copies in your main deck. There's never really a point. While I would like to have a higher sideboard, can't really complain about it. When you compare it to the past deck, the deck of the Dragon's Maw, you don't really miss out on much. You just get extra crit, extra pip conserve if you need it, more health. It's just a nicer deck in my opinion, and since you don't have to carry so many bubbles, you don't really have to worry about running the the Dragon's Maw anymore. Jeez. Okay, what else? So, now onto the deck setup. Personally, this is what I run. I'm still messing around with it a lot, and I just really don't want you to copy my deck directly. Still working on it as we go. But personally, this is what I run. I run main deck Blades. You could run side deck Blades if you want to. But just gonna run through it quickly, just because I don't want to have people asking me why or whatever I'm running certain things. Sunblocks, of course, Dispel Fodder. Discard Fodder. That's really nice. Surges, of course. 3 Ifrits, because it's one of the best spells right now because of fires and storms being so common in queue. I run 2 dragons for minions. I do have an FFA in case I need it. I have a few blades. I don't blade too often, but it's great to pressure for Salamander. I do have some Scions, so I can pressure Meltdown or play somewhere like that. You could put in some Oni's Forges, but personally I never get any value out of them. I do like Meltdown more considering I don't blade very often. I could pressure a Scion. So, I mean, it's up to you. You could run vice versa and just run Oni's Forge instead of Meltdown and then run more Infernal Onis. Again, up to you to test. And then I do run 2 Hephaestuses. I could even run 3. They're just such a good spell. It's ridiculous. 3 Salamanders, and you could run 4, but I personally run Nautilus just because it's a nice spell whenever you're kind of trying to reverse the tempo a little bit. I do have 1 King Art in, of course. 2 Fire Elementals, because why not? Some Jin's Reversals for Trap Stackers. Might want to run more depending on what's in queue. 3 S'mores, 1 Scorch, 2 Glacial Golems, some Bubbles, a Brace in my main deck because Brace is really good against Fire and Storm. 4 Putrefactions for Blade Stackers because they're very common right now. 3 Treefolds and 3 Shrikes, and then 3 Wands. Overall, this is what works for me. I mean, it might be different for you. I personally have been loving this deck setup, but yeah, personally, you know, you can do whatever you want to do. Depends on what kind of playstyle you have. Again, just ask questions. If you guys in the comments want to make your own version of this deck, just ask questions on what you should include. Again, I highly recommend you don't copy this directly because everybody cycles differently. This is my side deck. I do run about 7 or 8 OTs, some fuels because they're great for pressuring OT. Great for burning pips if you have a lot of them. Put in some towers, put in 3 triages. Might even lower it to 2. Haven't really been seeing many people use overtimes. At least not as much as previously. We got the Fire and the Storm Dispel. These are the 2 most common schools, and I don't really dispel Myth enough, or play against Myth enough. But I mean, depending on the queue, like I said, you might want to pack up a Dispel. I have 2 Empowers. Empower's a fantastic spell where people fucking weakness you all the time. It's just really helpful. 6 Infows, because why not? Infows are great, and it's great to have an aura up whenever, you know, you don't have bubble control. And then 6 weaknesses, and again, you could alternate some of these, but personally, the one thing I highly recommend you run or try is Fuels, because personally, man, they're such a good spell, or it is such a good spell to carry on fire, and I mean, if you're setting up for a Shrike play, can't really outvalue Fuel, you know? So, anyway, that's my fire deck setup and year setup video. Again, there's some changes people would prefer to make to their wizard, but personally, this is how I got to Warlord. Can't really go wrong with it. This is my Pip Conserve, forgot to show that earlier, but I mean, yeah, fire is really good right now, so I highly recommend you queue it if you have a good fire that's set up for PvP. Yeah, peace out, guys. See ya.